In the spring of 1945, the skies above Okinawa were a battlefield unto themselves. Day and night, American fighters clashed with kamikaze aircraft, artillery thundered from the ground, and smoke from burning ships drifted upward like black ghosts. Radar stations were constantly scanning for incoming threats. Pilots flew until they collapsed, and the entire island trembled under the weight of war. But in the middle of this chaos, a strange phenomenon began to unfold. Something that didn't match any aircraft, any tactic, or any logic of the war. It started quietly, almost unnoticed. A strange blip on a radar screen late at night. A single fast-moving object that didn't match any known plane. Not Japanese, not American, not anything that should have been flying. Radar operators watched the blip move at impossible speeds, appear and vanish in seconds, and fly through storm winds as if unaffected by nature itself. They tried to track it, but the signal flickered like a heartbeat, then disappeared completely. At first, the operators assumed it was a malfunction, a glitch, a ghost signal created by thunderstorms or equipment strain. But night after night, the strange aircraft returned. Always alone, always silent, always moving in ways no real plane could. They called it the Phantom Echo. They didn't know yet that soon, men on the ground would begin to hear something even more disturbing, long before they ever saw it. The sound came first. Marines, soldiers, even naval crews stationed miles offshore reported hearing a strange metallic scream tearing through the sky. It didn't sound like a normal engine. It didn't sound like a dive, a shell, or anything they had heard before. It sounded like metal being twisted apart, like a plane dying in midair. Some described it as a human scream mixed with the shriek of a failing engine, echoing across the cliffs in the dead of night. When troops looked up, the sky was empty. No aircraft, no lights, no shadows, just an invisible scream moving across the heavens. Soldiers described the sound moving overhead so fast it was impossible to track. It seemed to come from nowhere, and then vanish. At first, commanders dismissed it as battlefield stress. Nerves stretched thin by constant kamikaze attacks. Exhaustion. Hallucinations. But the reports kept coming in, and soon they came from places far apart. From the beaches, from radar stations, from caves and listening posts, even from sailors aboard ships anchored offshore. The same scream, the same direction, the same eerie intensity. And then, finally, someone saw it. One night during a break in the fighting, a group of Marines on the cliffs claimed they saw a faint glowing shape streak across the sky. It was the outline of a fighter plane, possibly Japanese, but distorted, flickering like a candle flame in the wind. It moved without sound. It left no exhaust trail. And as lightning flashed behind it, the Marines swore they saw a pilot inside the cockpit, sitting upright, watching them. Only one problem. The plane was transparent. It looked as if the storm clouds were visible through its wings, and the moment the lightning faded, the plane dissolved into the fog. The Marines filed a report. It was ignored. But then more sightings were recorded. Navy gunners spotted a glowing shape diving toward the ocean before vanishing just above the waves. Radar operators reported ghost echoes that matched the visual sightings. And Japanese soldiers hiding in the island's caves described a burning plane gliding silently overhead with a pilot whose face was blackened and skeletal, as if he had died in flames. Both sides, enemies who had no contact with each other, described the same thing. Silent plane, a glowing cockpit, a disfigured pilot, a terrifying scream in the sky. As the weeks passed, the story grew. American pilots returning from night patrols told of a strange aircraft that appeared on their wingtip for a moment, as if pacing them before dissolving into mist. One pilot said an intense cold filled his cockpit just before the apparition appeared. Another said his engine sputtered and nearly died as the ghost plane passed in front of him. Japanese defenders described hearing the scream shortly before American bombing runs, as if the ghost plane was warning the living of what was about to come. Others believed it was a kamikaze pilot who had never completed his mission, a spirit doomed to relive his final moments over and over, trapped in the skies where he died. There was even a rumor among some American troops that the ghost plane wasn't Japanese at all, but American, that it was the spirit of a pilot whose aircraft exploded during a dogfight, burned alive before he could bail out. The reports described the same terrifying image: a skeletal face, a scorched uniform, one eye socket empty, the other glowing pale blue like a dying star. The longer the battle went on, the stronger the legend grew. Men would wake in the night to the sound of the metallic scream, look out from their foxholes, and swear they saw a faint silvery shape drifting through the clouds. Radar crews began keeping quiet logs, unofficial entries, tracking the phantom blip. Some nights it traveled in perfect straight lines. Other nights it looped in small circles, almost like a plane trapped in a final holding pattern. And then there was the strangest detail of all. Almost every radar echo, every sighting, every scream seemed to originate from the same part of the island. A small stretch of coastline where a kamikaze pilot had been shot down weeks earlier. His plane had burst into flames mid-dive and disintegrated over the cliffs. His body was never recovered. Locals who lived on Okinawa long before the war had a name for that area. They called it a place of wandering spirits, a cliff where ancient warriors had once leaped to their deaths rather than face defeat. They believed the land itself held memories, and that violent deaths left behind echoes in the physical world. As the war ended and Okinawa grew quiet, the reports didn't stop. American occupation troops said they still heard the scream on foggy nights. Fishermen reported seeing a faint plane-shaped glow moving silently above the waves. Hikers decades later have described hearing a sudden metallic shriek that seemed to come from the sky, followed by a blast of cold air. In the 1970s, when modern radar was tested on the island, technicians detected brief phantom echoes that matched the 1945 logs, fast-moving objects that didn't exist. No explanation was ever found. Today, Okinawa is peaceful. Tourists walk the beaches. Families visit memorials. Fishermen cast their lines in the quiet morning mist. But when the fog settles thick over the cliffs, locals say the air changes. The wind grows colder. And sometimes, if the night is still enough, you can hear it. A scream tearing through the sky, metal twisting, a dying engine fading into the clouds, a pilot forever trapped in the final seconds of his last dive. Some believe it's just the wind. Some believe it's a real aircraft echo lost in time. But others believe the truth is much darker, that the ghost plane of Okinawa, the Wailer, still searches for its final target, still repeats its final mission, still cries out across the skies, unable to escape the moment of its death. The battle may have ended, but for the screaming pilot trapped in the fog above Okinawa, the war never did.